Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up? Welcome to Tigers Untapped, brought to you by Hoop City Basketball, AAU program here in the city. They got summer camps this summer, all through the month of June into July. If you got a little boy or girl, age 5 to 14, you can sign them up for camp. They got daily camps 9 to 4. I think it's going to be skills, contests, games. You got good instruction. I think there's going to be some Grizzlies players there. I've heard Desmond Bain may be there Friday. Sign up for the camp. If you go to bluffcitymedia.co/Hoop City, you get $25 off your registration. So sign up. Maybe you got the next baller in the city. Who knows? Tej, we are live
in Studio
BCM here on Rockefeller Plaza.
Wow.
This is nice and shiny. I don't know what to do with my hands.
It is really awkward. I don't really know what to do. I was sitting there holding
in
my
the
knees.
flesh. It's weird.
Does this look weird?
You let your hair down?
Sometimes you got to do it, you know?
It's not often. It's not often. It looks like you washed it. It's good.
I've taken a shower today.
Nice.
That's a lot. I showered yesterday.
That's impressive given having a newborn.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
How is dad life of two?
I mean, good enough that my wife lets me put the first one down and then
sneak out
and abandon her with the
bro out,
crying
drink
one.
some beer, and talk Tigers, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of a raw deal.
Shout out to Alicia.
Kind of a raw deal that she gets to stay home with the crying daughter and I'm out drinking beers with the dudes.
So for those of you, most of you, all of you will not know this besides the two of us, Kenny and maybe a few others. This is not the first time we've done this.
No, it's not.
We did this last night.
Yes.
In an unofficial, unplanned dry run. We've called it the dress rehearsal because Kenny got home and the audio did not record. So we didn't think you guys wanted to lip read through an entire episode of Tigers Untapped. So here we are back for night 2. I don't hate it.
You got to understand the embarrassment of making that text message to y'all this morning.
How long did it take you before you hit send on that?
I had to have some emotional support. So I had Tracy standing over one shoulder, Silas over the other. Sayla was in front of me. She was kicking me.
Gosh.
When I pressed send, I was just like, I can't believe I have to send. Because listen, it was a dress run. Yes, it was meant to be not a dress run, but you guys killed it. I mean, you guys were awesome last night, and I'm still learning all this equipment that you see in this place. And so I got home last night and it was sad, man.
It happens to the best of us.
Kenny was watching an old silent film of Tigers Untapped, episode 28.
I could have thrown it in some AI.
There you go.
Like I should have thrown in some AI and really.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
You should have 100% put a Chat GPT like dialogue, like, just tell them you're talking about Tiger sports and just create an absolute.
We'll have to do an episode like that.
That would be so boring.
That'll be the next one. All right. For those of you who follow TJ on Twitter, I found the Impossible beer that he claimed there was not another can in the city. And not only did I find it, I got enough for myself, TJ, and Kenny behind the glass has his own pint of peach lemonade ale, the Hush Main. And I'm going to tell you what.
Hush Main.
Right off the top, this is going to get a high score.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, from the can alone.
So it's a little unfair because I've actually already had this beer. I had one over the weekend and I sent a picture. I put it on Twitter. Trey got real pissed about it because it's kind of our thing. Like we share the same beer. Not share the same beer, but we get a beer. He has one. I have one. Our own respective beers. And I had this one. I was like, damn, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Good. Shout out to you, Bill Street Brewing.
I mean, I will say right off
So
that
we're
first
back.
sip, the crushability on this is sky high.
TJ, this is a safe place for you. You can be open and honest about this situation. Did you really were you not able to find any more, or did you drink all of them?
He goes to one place.
I do.
And he probably bought the last one. And
That's exactly how it worked.
Yeah.
I bought that beer like Oh man, February maybe.
Wow.
It could have been leftover
is not
from
a-
last year's golf tournament. I
Sure.
have no clue.
Yeah, this is not a Feb beer.
It's not.
Just as Andy's Mint was not a May beer.
Our timing is a bit off.
No, this is perfect time.
This is great.
I mean, it is golf season. This is the right beer.
All right,
'Tis the season to hush Maine.
we'll have to touch on it later and get Kenny's opinion. Kenny is not known for being a beer man, so we'll see how this works out.
My rating record is not great on Tigers Untapped. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not the highest. I'm gonna try to up my game tonight.
Or one could say that your rating is the highest.
It was literally the highest.
You gave it a 10.
ever.
Trey stopped the podcast when I rated my beer. He said we're done and left the chat, like left the call, was done.
Everything was tens across the board.
That was the episode I was out, so Kenny filled in, and I thought you all did a different beer. So the next episode back, I start the episode off, didn't tell Trey
And
what was happening, cracked the can,
shotguns the wrong beer.
crushed a beer right then and there, chugged the whole thing, and Trey was like, "That's the wrong beer, my man."
Yeah.
Those were some and then Trey jumps up and runs and grabs what wasn't it, a Bud Light or something? You ran and grabbed one
Oh,
and then
it was a Bush Light.
A Bush Light.
and then
yeah.
you almost you were
Shout out
dying the
shout
whole
out-
time.
Shout out to Dylan Jackson. Yeah, that you don't sprinting and then shotgunning is not.
They don't
I
go
mean,
hand in hand.
you do stairs and then you shotgun. It's not. I mean, and you're over 30. It's not going to go well,
Yeah, I
especially when you don't run.
could see the issue there.
But this is a I mean, I'm not going
Hey,
to spoil
hey,
it,
hey.
but this is.
They know what they're doing.
We
That's
might
all
need
I'm
to
saying.
send Kenny to go get 2 more down the street.
These are 16s. We finally got a
Um,
16.
All right, Teach, let's jump into it because there's been some pretty significant developments since last evening's recording. So it may not be all that bad that last night's audio was lost. In the saga that is DeAndre Williams' eligibility, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, the scale going every which way. He's got eligibility. He doesn't have it. His mom says he's out. Kenny, do you have the statement that DeAndre made today? I think it was it Doc that released that, Doc Holliday?
You know what? You mentioned to me at the beginning of the show that you wanted me to read this, and I said, "Yeah, I got you."
He in fact has not got us.
Let me hold on. Hey, listen, I have Twitter fingers over here. I can figure this out. Yeah, I mean it's been kind of a back and forth, right? Like it's
Sure.
been pretty wild. Here's the statement. In recent days, media stories have arisen that implied that a firm decision had been made relative to my possible return to the University of Memphis for an additional season of competition. No such decision has been made. I have consulted with counsel and am evaluating potential grounds for reconsideration of the NCAA's decision to deprive me of my initial year of eligibility at the University of Evansville, and if necessary, providing mitigating factors that would warrant a waiver. A final determination will be made in the coming days. To date, I have not signed with an agent, nor did I formally declare for the draft. I have operated under the assumption that I did not have remaining eligibility, but have been advised in recent days that regaining a season of competition is a real possibility. My mother is the rock of my life. I owe her everything and will always be loyal and grateful to her. At the time that her comments were made, she was not fully apprised of the circumstances surrounding my decision. I have enjoyed the best years of my life at the University of Memphis. If the opportunity were to return existed, I would welcome it and be proud to suit up for the Tigers in 23-24.
First off, who wrote that? Because that is a fine.
Well,
I did not say his name, but his counsel is Don Jackson, Esquire, with the Sports Group. Don Jackson is a hell of a writer.
I mean, that was very well put together.
guys-
I'd have just said, I would like to come back. There might be a possibility. Go Tigers.
I'll tell you what. You spent 8 years in college. You could probably write an article like that as well.
TJ, come on, man.
I'll say this. I have never in my life wanted to see a dumbass DeAndre foul with him in a Memphis uniform more than I do right now.
It would be great to have DeAndre back, especially the way that
Great.
the way the roster is currently like how it's built. I guess is easy.
Great
to
is an
word that.
understatement, Tej.
To have him back would be huge, right? I mean, you don't have that guy right now. He's undersized for the center, but we just did a whole season with him playing undersized 5, and it was fine.
It's fine.
It was absolutely.
I mean,
fine.
he would be preseason American Player of the Year. Would he not? He was just all AAC.
You know for a fact some FAU player would be the preseason.
Elijah Martin, I think was his name. I could see him being up there. So let me. Do you want to give your thoughts on it first?
I am all on board. Do it. Because you know what the sausage maker says? TJ, we are still trending the wrong direction. We are now 60th. I think a month ago we were in the 40s.
Yeah.
You want to take a guess at what just adding DeAndre and nobody else does to this roster?
It probably shoots them sky high.
33 spots
Wow.
to 27th
Wow.
with just DeAndre. Nobody else. Sign me up today. He will be 27 in October. And look, I don't care how old he is. And people make a big whoop hoo-ha.
Yeah.
Freaking Austin Nani's 29.
A little different.
It's not
scenario
a little
there.
different. I don't
He
care.
literally went to play major
Who
baseball.
cares? If you want to talk about his age,
No, I'm with you.
I don't care. If it can be done. Now, the possibility of it actually happening, it sounds like they're looking at two different cases. Not cases, but two different pathways of trying to gain the eligibility here. It sounds like the first route is the COVID, right? He's only played 4 years of basketball. They're trying to say, I guess, his first year on academic or athletic scholarship shouldn't count. So he should technically still get a COVID year. It sounds like that's the first approach. I think they said there were two options. The second is then applying for a waiver, if I read it correctly.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how anyone's not familiar with the story by now. His freshman year, he was academically ineligible, I think was what it was. I think it was a credit issue.
Yeah.
The prep school he went to was unaccredited. So basically, he was just not eligible to participate. So I believe.
And then his first year or second year at Evansville that he played, he only played like 17, 18 games, I think. He
Yeah,
didn't
it was
get a
something
full
like
year.
that. But his clock had already started, I think was the
Right.
issue.
So
And so that is why he's going to require the waiver, because he's technically already used his 5 years. But we've seen guys go beyond 5 years. Most of the time, it's for medical reasons. That quarterback for Houston, he may have played 7 years. Not Kevin Cobb. That's who came up.
no,
first.
it
It's
was
not him.
bro, come on.
You know who I'm talking
I
about,
know who
though.
you're talking about. It's on the freaking tip of my tongue.
He played forever as well. So a little different situation. I trust me, apply for it. If you think you have a case, apply for it. The worst they can say is no, whatever, right? I think it could. One could probably argue
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. I should probably know that being a Vikings fan.
Wow. Remember that playoff game he won?
Yeah, it was sick.
Anyway, go ahead. DeAndre.
I think. Now I kind of lost where I was going with that. Well, I don't even remember where I was at when you said Case Keenum. You got me so thrown
Sorry.
off there.
What do you think the possibility of this
Oh, it's a
happening?
0% chance. 0% chance. And that may be really harsh. I would love to have him
That
back.
is truly
and you
shocking
apply.
to me because those of you are friends, close friends that are watching, we know that you are. With TJ,
It's 50-50.
everything is 50-50.
Yeah,
it
this
either
one's-
is happening or it's not. So for him to say 0, TJ literally has no faith that DeAndre will
TJ, is
play
it
another second.
is it because you don't trust the NCAA or you don't think that his
He has a
case is
case.
valid?
No, the case I think is great. I think it's the NCAA doesn't want to help Penny or Memphis out in any way they can. I know that sounds like conspiracy theory type of situation, but when has the
I mean, I don't-
NCAA given us any favors?
If it's up to them, yeah.
It's a waiver situation, and I don't touch any waiver situation. I want nothing to do with it.
Look, I don't. He's only played 4 years of basketball. Whenever his clock started, I don't see what the harm in letting him play again.
Like that's the whole theory, right? Is when did his clock start?
Right,
That's the
sure.
whole waiver is when did his clock start? And the NCAA is saying his clock started when he was deemed ineligible.
Right.
When, if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong on this, I need to go back and look. The NCAA came back after that first season and said we were wrong, like that he shouldn't
Well,
have been deemed ineligible.
if that's the case, then he has a damn good case.
Yes, and that's his whole thing. Is he was led under the assumption that he was ineligible and that he did, or excuse me, that
Wasn't
he has
counting against him.
correct, and but now he thinks he doesn't have any eligibility left, and they're like, well, you may have a case given A, B, and C, and so now he thinks he can reapply.
Well, I will say this. the strangest part of all of this is what the compliance office said. They are not
Yeah.
standing behind him. I mean, they
At
had
all.
basically come out and were like, he's exhausted all eligibility that he has.
Yeah.
Even if that's the case, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know anybody in the compliance office, but I mean, wouldn't you have just been like, yeah, we're going to do whatever we can to help DeAndre pursue, if this is what he wants to do, like he said that his best years have been in Memphis. He could go down as one of the all-time favorite Tigers for a lot of people. Like, why would you not just come out with some sort of statement of support, whether you think he has
Sure.
eligibility or not? Like,
Sure.
what's the harm in that? It's a weird look.
It is. I think they're operating off just straight black and white. Like they have a rule book. They see
Right.
Rule 4, Section A, whatever. I
Yeah.
think it's going boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I mean, they're
follow straight
seeing that
there.
very first year as clock started.
Sure.
It is what it is. That's what
Yeah.
and I guess that's their job as the compliance office is it's very black and white
Yeah.
for them. But still,
I don't want to say it's a nothing burger, but I think this whole thing has been around for what feels like a week, maybe a little more now. And
it's been out there a while. Has it only been a week?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'd have
this
to go
back
to
and
Twitter
forth
trace
is-
it down, but it's been out for a while because you've had several people talk to people related to him, maybe not him directly.
See, that's the problem. I think that's what the
Sure.
problem. I don't know that anybody. One, maybe they weren't reaching out to DeAndre, or two, they were and they just weren't getting feedback, because I think some of the reports that were like he has done.
Yeah.
That was people reaching out to compliance office, and we know obviously with their statement,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that lines up. They were saying no, there's no chance.
Sure.
So if you didn't actually hear it from, but then to your point, you try to go through the family, and his mom yesterday said he's done, and then DeAndre comes back today and is like, I love my mom to death, but she didn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Which makes sense though, because he was not under the impression that he had eligibility left as well. So if he doesn't think it, why would his mom all of a sudden be like, you know what, maybe there was that one freshman year where he was lied to. So that'd be kind of weird. But
I don't know. It kind of seemed like he did think he did, and maybe he and his mom just hadn't really talked about it.
maybe in the back of his mind. I think once he talked to the legal counsel, they were kind of like, damn, okay, maybe you have something here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nonetheless, it's obviously there's something there. There's smoke there. There's TJ says 0. I say there's some sort of possibility. I think he's got.
Put a percentage on it. You coward.
Gosh, I'll still hears it's 50-50.
I love it, dude. Makes my heart happy inside.
I don't know. I do. Leaving it up to the NCAA does give me a lot of doubt that it would actually happen. I also
Sure.
think I mean, he's already applied for a waiver once. And to be honest, we didn't even get an answer. The only reason that was cleared is because the free transfer rule passed through.
Yeah.
Right? Like he didn't actually get the waiver approved. We submitted it and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. He only became eligible because of that rule passing.
So how much does Portsmouth play into this? We've never, to my knowledge, seen anyone play in Portsmouth and come back and they've been eligible.
Well, he said it in his statement that he never declared. So I'm wondering if that's the language, if that's that's probably a part of the case that has to be made is you went through some of those processes, and you're right. The Portsmouth Invitational, usually once you play in that, you're basically declaring your eligibility is done, right?
Sure.
Like you're out. But that could be, he's saying in his statement that he never actually like officially declared for the draft.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Portsmouth thing, though, is like typically the guys that are going, you have like,
Sure.
right? And if it comes down to that, which is a glorified exhibition game, and they're not going to allow him to be eligible, that's absurd.
Yeah, but I could totally see a situation where when you sign up for Portsmouth, you sign off on a documentation. It's somewhere in fine print. It says something like, hey, I'm not coming back to college. Like, I could totally see that being a situation, too.
It could be. But again, that's for like true seniors that are done.
No, I'm with you.
I mean, I guess they could hold him to it and be like, if this was the route you wanted to take, you had to have done it before you
Yeah.
participated in these events.
So I think,
I mean, you were effectively giving up your eligibility by going
to
this
be
event.
at this showcase.
Yeah.
I think we agree. Like, we would love to have DeAndre back. Like, without
I mean,
question,
we
with no
talked-
hesitation.
We talked about it when we thought J-Law was staying. You had Chandler, J-Law, and Jaden coming back, and we were sitting there saying, you know, you got all these freshmen, these transfers coming in. Like, you need some of that continuity. You need
Sure.
these guys that are older that have been in the program to help establish the culture of the program and what Penny's trying to do. Like, who better to have than DeAndre, who's, I mean, not to bring his age up again, but literally he will be the oldest guy in college basketball, like a true veteran in the locker room that knows it'll be his fourth year.
Do you want to
playing
hear
with-
something
with
crazy?
Penny, like, who better to have in that spot?
Sorry to interrupt you, Trey, but this put out on Twitter. If he were to play for the Grizzlies, he'd be the second oldest player on the team.
I saw that he and Tyus would be right.
No, Steven
Oh,
Adams.
Steven. Well, he and Tyus would be tied at 27th. I think is what for second oldest.
Yeah, I think Adams.
Dude,
is
he's damn near
28.
as old as Pastner was when he took over the head coaching job.
It is pretty wild. I think just to kind of wrap up the DeAndre thing, I think unequivocally we would both love to have him back. I don't think either one of us
I don't know that I believe you.
is leaning one way or the other. Well, correction. I am definitely strong, heavy lean one way. I don't think it's happening. I just don't.
I
don't
would
see
be
the NCAA
shocked.
doing any favors.
I would be. I won't say shocked. I would be very surprised if it ends up going through.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
and I think that's the general consensus, right?
Yeah, I think most people probably feel that way. I mean, I would say, honestly, if DeAndre were with us, and we know that you were listening, like he would probably say that he would be surprised too.
Yeah,
Just given his history with
Of
how
course.
things have gone with him in the NCAA.
yeah, of course.
That's not the only bit of news. So obviously today was the last day, or is the last day. You got a couple hours left to withdraw from the NBA draft. TJ's been preaching it all along. That's what Penny's waiting for. He wants these older transfers to come in, guys that obviously have the skill set, the potential to be NBA players to make a difference, but are older. So we're sitting here seeing some guys that are withdrawing, that are in the portal. There was breaking news this afternoon that eerily quiet about Memphis having any visits, but St. John's transfer David Jones was on a visit, posted pictures from the facility. I think he was a junior from St. John's, but he's transferred twice, started his career off at
DePaul, I believe.
Gosh, DePaul.
I think it's DePaul.
Yeah, played 2 years at DePaul, played last year at St. John. So
Hey, not touching it, dude.
TJ, we know TJ's a
Two-time transfer. Yeah,
I'm so sick of the word waiver.
I know.
Everybody needs a damn waiver.
Again, do you have any faith that he's going to get a waiver to be able to play?
I don't even know what to think. If it was last year, yeah, I feel like they were granting waivers left and right, but now they're supposed to be like cracking down on it, especially for two-time guys.
I'm curious what you're going to say here because of conversations we've had in the past. He is 6'6", 190.
It's 210. Don't short him. 20
Whatever. I'm
pounds.
making up a weight. It's 6'6" is where I'm going with this. Do you need another 6'6" wing, positionless basketball player on your team right now?
No.
Well, the Tigers lost one today in TFL Leonard because apparently he's now 6'10" and not 6'6", 6'7".
Kenny, I literally just shat my pants.
Yeah, dude.
I thought you had some breaking
No.
tweet. That's absurd. Don't ever say that again.
So the whole 6'6" influx of players, they have.
So what was that?
6'10".
He tweeted a picture of his license that says 6'10".
Yeah. That's
Dude,
what
if
it
he's a
was.
legit 6'10",
That's bananas. Especially if you can be 6'10".
TJ, what does your
playing the
license
three.
say?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Probably 5'11".
You didn't want to just bump it up one more?
No, that seems like a lie. If I get pulled over there, I'm like, who are you? This is a lie. Who are you? You're not 5'11". You're 5'10" and 3/4.
6'10". So he and Jonathan Pierre pushing 7 foot.
Is Pierre, though? I'm curious on Pierre. I know I've seen some people say that he's 6'8". Some have even said taller. I don't know.
I've seen 6'10".
I don't know.
I would be interested to see.
Are they going to do the
What?
combine this year? If so, we can kind of get some feedback on that. You can only lie about
Are
it
they
so
going
much.
to?
Well, they
Yeah.
did the combine. Dang, I don't know if they did it last year. I know they
They
did,
did it.
Did they?
Yeah, they've done it the last couple of years. I thought, I think you said, are we, as in like Bluff City Media, doing a combine, which I would be all for. I think that'd be great content.
I don't know why the people need to see that. Actually, that could be pretty funny.
I think it would be great.
I don't know if you guys know this. There is a height requirement to work at this company. I have learned. Yesterday when we were in here, it was myself, Trey, Kenny, Christian, Gabe. I'm not like, I don't think I'm short.
I wouldn't say
I'm
that
like
you're
5'10",
short.
5'11". I am dramatically shorter than everyone in the room. Dramatically shorter than everyone in the room. Like, I've never had a short man, like a little man complex. But I'm looking around like, is this for real? Is this what Jalen Hurts feels like back there in the huddle?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Are you the Jalen Hurts of BCM? That's the question.
Oh, come on.
People have made that comparison before.
Listen,
so I'm just saying, like, for you to ask that question, I'm not going to say you're wrong.
I don't think it's a false
Kenny-
equivalency here.
Kenny said it.
That's what the J in TJ stands for.
Jalen.
T. Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
It's a long name. It's a family name.
Interesting.
Scottish.
Anyway, so back to your point. I mean, no, I don't. Another 6'6", like wing,
Yeah.
especially with him needing a waiver. Like, I just don't know that that's.
Yeah.
We've talked about it time and time the last several weeks. Like, give me a big and give me, ideally, a really true. I mean, what is a true point guard? But like
Sure.
a more facilitating point guard that you just feel like. I'll say this: last year was the first time in a while I felt comfortable with who was handling the ball, like in pressure situations or at the end of the game. It is because we had Kendrick Davis.
Sure.
I do not feel like we've had somebody like that in years.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this team has that right now.
No. I wouldn't say so. No.
So to add another like 6, would he be helpful? Probably. But it's also like, where are you fitting all these guys?
Exactly. I think that becomes the issue.
You start
of-
running into the same thing you've kind of seen recently
Exactly.
with playing time, keeping guys happy, and
He's not the only name we've heard today. There's been a couple names that have resurfaced with
you talking old Mongolian Mike?
Mongolian Mike is one of them for sure.
I'm not even gonna try. I tried to listen,
Sheriff Johns.
Sheriff Johns.
Is that right?
but he withdrew from the
Johns.
NBA draft. 6'8", 180. You're pushing that 6'6", but he's the first NCAA Division I Mongolian player, I think, ever.
That's kind of impressive.
That's pretty legit.
So we would corner the market of Mongolian college basketball fans.
Our ESPN Plus numbers in Mongolia would skyrocket.
Hey, it worked for the Grizz, man. They were exploding in Japan when Yuta was here.
Yuta, yeah.
Like, if you ever went to the games, the Japanese media were flooding the forum. It was incredible.
Really?
I don't know if Mongolia has that kind of basketball like following.
I don't know that TJ needs to say flooding in Japan in the same sentence.
Is there some breaking news on this?
I don't know.
That's
Tidal
fair.
waves
It
and
is
stuff.
probably a little sensitive on that one. But no, I think that Mongolian Mike is an interesting one. The size makes sense, but
What-
it's a little bit more of the same, right?
Yeah.
At 180, 6'8", 180, that's a thin dude. What's he
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
mean, they
for
have
you?
him listed as a forward, so it's like, what is he?
Just a wing,
Is he
yeah.
sitting there at the 3-4 with Chandler, Jourdain, like
Yeah,
kind of log jamming?
Carl.
Yeah,
Yeah, just more of the same. And he's not really like, he's not a shooter. I wouldn't call him a stretch big, really. He does pass pretty well for a big guy. And like he was definitely on draft board. So like there's talent there, and people
I mean,
were
I've
actually
seen-
thinking he could get drafted.
I've seen people say for next year him being a first round guy.
Yeah. So the size and the passing, I think, is something that there's potential on. And this sounds weird because we're talking about a guy who could go in the NBA draft and passing on him. Like, what? But
That's true, and he is. I mean, Evan Maya has him as a 5-star transfer.
you put
Right
him
now.
in that sausage maker yet?
I did. He didn't. It didn't bump him up. Bartorvik
Wow.
doesn't like him as much as Evan Maya does.
Wow.
But they have him 69th overall in the transfer portal, and that is
Nice.
out of almost 1,700 portal guys.
Yeah, I mean,
And then David Jones was 50. He's 55. So that's 2 5-star guys that you've been mentioned with recently. 5-star transfer guys.
I know, but how many 5 stars do you get?
I
You
think
got the
it's-
top 75 transfers are all 5 stars?
I think so.
That's bananas. That's a weird rating system.
Top 78.
Okay,
Don't ask
I
me.
apologize to
It's-
75 being random.
it's the
78
it's
is
the
by far
numbers.
the most random.
It's the numbers.
Yeah,
I
I
don't have
get
to
it.
tell you.
I get it. It is what it is.
But he's not the last.
No, he is not the last. Olivier
Olivier
Camhow, what is it?
Camus. Yeah.
Camu, there it
Yeah.
is.
Former Tennessee big man has announced that he is withdrawn from the draft and is still going to transfer. And I think we've been tied. Have we been mentioned as contacting him?
Yes, I believe so. I think Gavoni, maybe. Who was it? Someone posted something on it.
But I think that's
a legit.
I mean, that's
ad.
your 6'9", 240. Like,
That's a big boy.
yeah.
Yeah.
He can finish at the rim.
Yeah.
Like, averaged 11.5, 2 assists, shot 51% from the field.
Yeah.
Can knock down the three. I don't think he shoots a ton, but he shot 33% last year, 44, almost 45% from three the year before.
Do you have the totals on that?
Like how many threes he
Yeah.
took?
Like, are we talking like he shot 33% Will
Sure, it's
style,
on,
like 1
like-
of 3, or
That wasn't me this time.
I know. I just want to take my shots because I don't have to do the 3-point shooting contest. I have nothing to prove. Will's probably a better 3-point shooter.
He shot 54 threes last year,
That's
33%.
that's okay. That's a good sample size for a center.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want
You
to play.
step out, you shoot one a game.
Sure.
One and it's like 2 a game.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, especially if this whole DeAndre thing turns out to
Falls. But here's the like, how long is that DeAndre thing going to take?
Oh, I mean,
Is that something you get a quick response from the NCAA, or are we going into October thinking, hey, DeAndre is a part of the team?
You'll hear back on that relatively quickly, I think.
You sure about that?
I think relatively quickly, yeah. I mean, I think they're going to look at it and be like, no, dude, stop. Grow up. They'll say something just like, stop calling us about waivers. Can you stop? You and Seth Towns need to stop. You guys are too old for this. Get on out of here. But, no, I think when the DeAndre thing falls through, like if you say DeAndre falls through.
TJ's so pessimistic.
I know, it sounds terrible. I'm sorry.
When it falls through.
If it falls through, I said 0% earlier. I can't
I
come
know.
back now, so I have to say when. So when it falls through, and you are left with Olivier, like what are we talking about? It's a great plug and play guy immediately.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fine.
I don't think it's the sausage maker of 27.
No, I'll do a quick whip up of the sausage and let you know. It is.
And I have one more just quick question for you while you're looking that up. We've been connected with a guard. We've talked about this so many times. Memphis desperately needs another guard. I don't think you can run into the season with only Mikey as the true point guard. Caleb Mills, I think, can be a point guard for sure. I think he can fill a role in a
He's
need and a
capable.
bench, definitely. But I would feel more comfortable with him being your number 2 guy, and I think most people agree with that. In terms of point guards, there's one point guard that we have been linked to, and everyone said, "Oh, he's going back to his old school," but just nothing's happened with it yet. And Tyron Lawrence, it's been real quiet on the Tyron Lawrence front.
It has been quiet. We were talking about this before we started. I thought that it had come out that he had gone back to Vandy, but he has not officially made any announcement,
Yeah.
anything. Which, I mean, I think I would be fine.
I think Texas Tech was getting a late push in there. I think they were at one of the other schools that were.
But I'm also at the point where I feel like that's kind of like he visited, right? Or did he
I don't
ever
think
end
he
up
visited.
visiting? He was supposed to. It didn't come.
I don't even think it was that far.
I think there were talks of him visiting, and he just didn't show up. But anyway, I mean, that's that one where it's like I feel like that's kind of that ship sailed.
I don't count Penny out on anything. I'm still waiting on Yuri. is Penny has shooketh his hand. Shooken?
Shooken?
Has shaken? Shook.
He has shook his hand.
He has shaken his hand in the handshake line. And there's anything that we know. If Penny has touched your hand in the handshake line, there's about a
Penny does
70% chance.
He does his best work in a handshake line.
100%.
And there are people out there that say that the handshake line is outdated and it does not need to exist in sports anymore. And absolutely at the collegiate level in basketball, it does, because
That's where Penny does his work, man.
Penny is a grinder in the handshake line.
It's 70% of the time. He's like, hey man, good
70%
game.
of the time it works every time.
Good game. Hey, come play for me, man. Come play for me.
I don't.
Hey, dude, come play for me.
Okay. You don't have. Please don't.
ASMR.
Stop.
It's ASMR.
It was
It's
very
basketball ASMR.
ASMR-y. I hope that he's not whispering like that.
I
But
don't
if he
know.
is, it's working, I guess.
You can't have everyone hearing you tamper if that's how it's going down. But no, I think that to your point, I don't know how much of a world beater Tyron Lawrence adding him is going to be. It's an experienced guard, and I think that's probably a better situation than adding, putting Mikey in there, because, I mean, I don't know of any true freshman point guard specifically that steps in as a game changer immediately for a team, right? Like, name. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean, you could say D Rose, I guess, but I mean, how far back are we really taking this?
But that even took some time.
And he was
I mean,
surrounded
that-
by incredible
Yeah,
talent,
that wasn't day one.
an American, All American,
Yeah.
next to him. So, I come off as anti Mikey, but I think it's more so I don't like the idea of relying on a freshman, a true freshman at that matter.
And I don't know that it's anti. He doesn't. I don't think he's a point guard in the sense that you look for, right? He's more of like a ball dominant scoring.
Sure.
You know, he's not really like a facilitating. Well, I mean, I think he's got passing ability. He
Yes.
likes to throw those between the leg,
The
full
lobs.
court passes.
Yuri Collins is a true point guard.
Has he announced anything?
Nah,
He pull out
he's
of the
still in
draft?
But he's also a grad, so he can do whatever
Yuri,
he
if you're
wants.
listening, we know that you probably are here on Wednesday evening. You got 2 hours.
No, he can do whatever he wants, dude.
Why?
Grad transfer. He has no rules.
You don't have to withdraw from the
No,
draft.
there's
as a
no
grad.
literally no rules. I'm pretty sure there's no rules on him.
Does that apply to DeAndre? He's graduated.
I
No rules. He's coming back.
think it's a little bit different there.
All right. We did have a little bit of exciting news on Monday with here Bluff City Media dropping the schedule, the non-conference schedule for the Tigers. We're not going to dive too deep game by game, but overall, TJ, if you had one word to describe the schedule,
Ooh.
that didn't sound like a good ooh.
No, I'm pulling it up. I just want to make sure I'm looking at everything. I'm probably going to go a different route than what you're looking for here. I'm going to
I
say
mean, mine is sexy.
definitely a different route. I was going to say brutal
That is, yes, I would say at the
Yeah,
total
definitely.
opposite end of the spectrum.
because, I mean, Mizzou, battle for Atlantis, Ole Miss, at VCU. We're not going to go through all the games here. I ain't going
You
through all the
can
games.
read them out loud. I'm just saying we don't have to give it in-depth.
Sure. At A&M, Clemson, Virginia, Vandy, Austin P. Like, obviously Jackson State, Alabama State, Austin P. Not to disparage those names, but you should be able to beat those guys, right? You start hitting Mizzou, that's a tournament team from last year. Battle of Atlantis is full of tournament teams, great programs. Ole Miss looks incredible with what they're putting together there right now.
It's not your mom and pop's
No,
Ole Miss team.
no, it's not.
I mean, they're speaking of waivers. They're going to need some waivers, but if they get them,
sure.
I mean, they will finish. I'll say top 4 in the SEC.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Kentucky can't even field a team right now, so we can go ahead and probably put them in top 3.
Okay.
They have like 5 guys. Everyone else has hit the portal.
I understand.
At VCU, Shaka's good. A&M, that's a tournament team from last year. Clemson is pretty good considering where Clemson has been historically. It's a pretty good team.
I mean, they were fringe tournament last year. I think they went to the NIT, but won like
There were 20 plus games.
Yeah, 25
in
or
the
26
in
games.
the ACC. I mean, I think that's nothing to just shake off. Virginia is a bit controversial for some. I mean, you have a championship coach. Why did
For
you?
some.
What do you mean?
They're a very good basketball program.
Are they program? Sure. I mean, they have a coach who's won a championship 15 years ago. It feels like now, after first round
Look,
exit.
it's a big
first round
name,
exit.
ACC. I'll right now, given you have 6 Power 5 teams on the schedule, that does not include the Battle for Atlantis, which includes obviously Arkansas, us, Michigan, North Carolina, Northern
Everybody.
Iowa, Stanford, Texas Tech, and Villanova. You're guaranteed 3 games there. Outside of Northern Iowa, every other team is a Power 5. Well, I mean, if you count Villanova in the Big East, they're not technically in a Power 5 conference, but I mean, that's a power school.
Yeah.
Blue blood. I mean, you could look at, I mean, that's 9 of your 13 non-conference games are against Power 5 opponents.
Probably all top 100 KenPom teams.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only one out of those last year was probably Ole Miss that was outside of that, but that's,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not
you're
the
looking
same
at a
Ole Miss.
totally different
Yeah,
Ole Miss
yeah.
team.
It's staff wise, player wise, everything about that one.
I'll say this. That stretch, I mean, obviously the battle for Atlantis is going to be tough. And this is me just being honest. I should be looking forward to that. But historically, Thanksgiving week in Tiger basketball has not gone well for
Not
me.
friends.
And so I have bad vibes about that.
Yeah.
But I will say this, that first 10 days in December, I will agree with you, is absolutely, I mean, that is a gauntlet of I mean, the boys aren't coming home. They're at Ole Miss, at VCU, and then December 10th at A&M. That is going to, if you could, I mean, this is straight up right now. If you came out of that 1-2, I would be like, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's incredible. And those are experienced coach. I mean, you've got
2-1, and that's great. 3-0, and we're winning the Natty. I mean, you might as well not even have a tournament.
I mean, not even looking at who we have on our roster at that same time, the coaches that you're going against on this non-con are incredible. I mean, I don't know. I chose Brutal for a reason. I'm not sure that where the roster is currently constructed can handle that type of schedule for you to come out with any type of success. So I'm sticking with Brutal. It's rough. It's beautiful. I get it.
Brutally sexy.
Yeah, it's definitely sexy. I
It's
mean,
a bad in a good way, a bad schedule.
we're talking about
And he's
teams that
done.
normally
He's
don't get to
done
play.
exactly what, given the future of the American. I mean, you're going to have quality. It's almost like back to the Cal days when you were in
Sure.
the Conference USA and you were playing Gonzaga, you were playing Texas, you were playing UCS, like USC.
100%.
Like, I love this schedule.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to do this given the way that the roster is, but give me your best case, worst case. This is 13 games, non-conference. Give me a record, best case, worst case.
we're talking best case.
I only see 3 guaranteed
Yeah.
at this today,
Yeah.
May 31st. I only see 3 guaranteed, and that is Jackson State, Alabama State, and
Yeah.
Austin Peay.
Yeah, I'm going to say worst case you come out. Jeez.
I mean, I will say it. Worst case is 3-10.
That's a little extreme, but yeah.
I think it is, but we're talking worst case, Timothy.
I'm going to say your worst case, we're probably looking at like 5 wins, probably. I think you can squeak out 2 outside of the obvious
2 of the
3.
home ones. Yeah, raucous crowd, Clemson, Virginia, and
Yeah.
Vandy. I mean, yeah.
I
6
think
is
that
probably more realistic.
how fast of a tempo Penny plays versus Virginia, who plays super slow. If they get behind at any point in time, they're going to be shooting themselves in the foot. Like, I don't know that they will be able to catch up. So I'm going to just say somehow, some way we pull out 2 more wins. So 5 is my low. My high is not going to be much different. I think there's a very small window here for us. 8 I'm gonna change it and say I go with 8.
So just 3 more. I mean, I think best if you can't similar to this year, 10-3 would be incredible.
Yeah, that's an impressive.
I mean, that would against this schedule, that would
Sure.
be a very impressive non-conference, and you'd be setting yourself up. I
Ranked,
mean, at
right?
that, if you're 10-3 through this schedule going to the American,
You're ranked.
I mean,
Without a
well,
question,
yeah,
right?
but you may lose one conference game.
How many quad 1 wins is that?
Gosh, here we are in May talking about quads.
If you could assume just by looking at the team, because like you have a general idea of where this team typically
Taking into
sits.
account Battle for Atlantis, I mean,
There's like
I would
4
say
in there.
I would say the on every away game, Missouri, Ole Miss, VCU, Texas A&M will probably end up quad 1. Virginia will probably I would throw that in the quad 1 at home, being top 30. Vanderbilt, Clemson, I don't know,
Pushing it
probably
there, yeah.
not.
Probably Q2.
Battle for Atlantis is
You said
neutral, so you have to be 50, top 50, I think. So I mean, that's hard to say,
UNC,
but I would say
Arkansas.
at least one of those.
3. Yeah.
Depending on who you draw. You know, a Stanford probably isn't going to be there, but yeah, I would say one of your games is at least going to be quad 1. So
Sure.
you're talking about, is that 6?
Yeah, I think 6 or 7. That's
6 or 7 of those?
completely-
Half of them?
Yeah, completely reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And you need that though. Like those are
No, I
those are
think you do.
huge.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get any of that in conference play outside of maybe FAU. There's some inflation there.
It
because
kind of
everyone's
depends,
coming
and
back.
we would have to look. I mean, we'll look a little closer as we get to
Sure.
basketball season, but I think like North Texas, UAB, like I think some of those schools were
Yeah.
up as an away game or quad 1, so you still probably have,
Yeah.
you know, you trade those out for UCF, you trade out obviously Houston FAU is a trade out, right? So
Yeah.
you're probably still looking at overall throughout the year somewhere to 7 to 10ish, 12ish maybe, depending on how things fall, but
How many did we have last year?
off the top of my head,
5 or 6 maybe?
no, I think we had closer to 10, 8 or 9.
Was it?
I think we were like 4 and 4 or something.
Okay. It's more
We'll
than
have to
I
go
thought.
look at it.
Yeah. Not that big of a deal. I think we generally agree that there's very tough games in
Yeah.
this non-conference, and you're going to have to win some, I think, to
Yeah.
make some type of resume for May when it comes around, or March, excuse me. Obviously, right?
No, I totally agree. So we had 9. We were 4 and 5 last year in quad 1.
Okay.
I think that's probably about where you're going to get again.
And then so you can get some in conference, right?
Yeah.
Tulane's bringing a lot of guys back. We talked about FAU, UAB, UNT, both decent teams last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, adding those to the conference is going to kind of maybe boost up some of the lower end teams. I think is the
if you
easy
can get
way to
Wichita
do
State back rolling, that would be
Sure.
yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity
it. Of course.
there with that schedule. Last thing we'll talk about basketball wise, guys showing up on campus. I think we've got everybody but Leonard, Mikey, obviously, which I wasn't given his court date. I wasn't anticipating him being.
Yeah, why would he?
Wouldn't be here. Jalen Young, I don't think has showed up, and Nick Georgian's not here yet. I think a couple of them have academic things similar to kind of what. I'll ask you: are you worried at all that one of those guys may not, out excluding Mikey, leave Mikey out of it? Jordan Young or Leonard, are you any fear that one of them doesn't end up here? Similar to the ACOT situation last year, he had academic stuff he was trying to take care of, and then ended up not being here.
No, I would say no, probably not, because who are you afraid to lose in that situation the most?
Leonard.
It's Leonard, right? And you've already
100%.
the draft
Especially
is
now
already
that he's 6'10". Are you kidding me?
yeah, he's already hit all the dates on the draft, so he can't join the draft. So his move would be to go overseas and go pro. Well, why would you do that?
Or just I don't. Kenny, do you know has Leonard signed?
No, there were some reports today that he's having to work through some summer classes before he can get here. But he has signed, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, has signed.
I think so. Let me look.
See, that's the only. So
Well, what does that really? That doesn't really mean anything
Well,
when it's all said and done.
I mean, it does. It's the same thing as Acot. Acot was committed, not signed. He decommitted and went somewhere else. I mean,
You can be signed and
theoretically,
you
Leonard
just go
could do the same thing.
Yeah, you just go to the university and say, "Can you please let me out?"
Right.
of
So he could
NIL?"
still potentially pick. I'm saying like he could still pick another school. Potentially.
Sure. I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think that the situation with him was going pro,
Yeah.
right? And that ship seems to have not necessarily sailed. Of course, he still has those opportunities
Right.
outside of the NBA. But if your goal is to make the NBA, not sure why it would make sense to leave now.
Right.
at
He
this
is
point in
signed
time.
with Memphis.
Good.
Yeah. Cool.
good.
On April 15th, the university announced that he signed
Okay,
with
cool.
the team.
Nice.
And I think it must have been Young. One of them has not officially signed, and I think it must have been Young then, or at least that the school hasn't announced.
I don't know about that. No, I wouldn't be too worried about it, though. I mean, neither one of those guys has this huge resume built up for them to be this hot shot, prospect just sitting out there, right?
Yeah.
It's not like Nick Jourdain is putting together this impressive resume to lure Michigan State to steal him away from Memphis or anything like
Sure.
that. Like, I think that is a situation where he has touched Penny's hand in a handshake line, and it's automatically a lock. And here we are. So,
He shooketh the hand.
shooketh that hand.
All right, Teach. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little NIL,
Okay.
a little football, and then we'll close it out
Yeah.
for first in studio Tigers on Tap.
Nice, dude.
It is nice in here. Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because they're a partnership together. So we thank you for supporting Memphis Tigers student athletes and helping promote the mind and what cause that is childhood literacy and helping future children and leaders of America not struggle with shook, shaken, has shaken, shooketh, might shake, did shake, shooken, shaketh. Did you see Mikey lost an NIL deal the other day?
I did see that. And
With lace clips, which guys, TJ told me I had no idea what this company was. Kenny will have to fill us in, but TJ told me it was a company that created some clip that goes on your laces so you don't have to tie them and keeps them in place. And I thought that was legitimate because he's a basketball player, and I was
Locks
like,
them bad
hey, he
boys
doesn't have to go down, tie his shoes. But it's Kenny. What is some kind of performance?
Yeah, they monitor your performance on the field or the court in which you play using your clothing. I guess they have a different kind of clothing that has performance
So
monitoring.
it's like those bras that the soccer players wear. Males wear them.
is bras the word there?
It is. Look it up.
It's absolutely a sports bra.
It is it looks like a bra.
It's a
sports
penny.
bra. Like Coach?
No, like the jerseys, the
yeah.
gym jerseys.
Like you would
penny.
wear in gym. Yeah.
Some tight ass pennies.
No, it's very tight. It looks much more like a
It's
sports
super
bra
dope.
than
I
a-
agree.
A penny.
No, super dope. I agree.
Not that tight. Literal tight. Anyway, thoughts on that?
I mean,
It's how it should work.
that's
right?
I would say I
You're
think
under a
that's the way it
contract, you
works.
breach it, you lose. It's broken.
Yeah, and I think that has become that was probably the original intent of NIL. You set a contract.
You sent us one the other day, right, with Seth.
Yeah.
Where he's at a restaurant. He posted a pic. It's got Seth, the name of the restaurant. He's eating there.
he eats the food.
He got paid to post that. It entices us to want to go eat there.
I
Right?
looked at
Like,
the menu.
that's
I'd never heard
exactly-
of the place.
I feel like that's how it should work. And we've gotten into this. It's just like a pay to play.
100%.
Come here. We'll pay you this amount of money. Play the game.
Yeah, and I hate that. And I think of Miami every time I think of NIL, probably because of John Ruiz and what he's done there, paying people. And Nigel Peck gets $800,000 to do what?
Yeah.
To do what? Just to play
I don't know. I would
basketball?
have to look more into that, but it's like What is he getting out of that? Was that worth it? What's his return
Oh, I think
besides the Final Four?
yeah, return
Is
on
that it?
investment is so subjective for you as
I mean,
an
in the
investor.
restaurant's case, it's getting people like us that you never heard of it.
Sure.
I've never been. Like, we may patron it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something new. Maybe once our daughter is old enough, like my wife and I can go there for a date or something. Like that's
Yeah.
something I'll keep in the back of my mind. So
Well,
it
date night
entices
with
me.
Teach.
Exactly. But for you to just get paid to play, and I don't know, I don't follow Miami basketball that close. Like this dude could be in car commercials left and right, or
Sure.
wealth management, whatever the hell he does. But I think in a majority of situations, it's just I'm giving you money and you
Right.
just come play for
It's
the
not-
school that I support.
Maybe you sign something here or there for people, or you
Sure.
show up somewhere, but I just feel like it's kind of gotten away from what it was supposed to be.
No, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I think the Mikey situation is a perfect example. You had a contract, you're unable to fulfill it. Done. Bye. Got to break the contract. It's done. It's
Yeah.
over. Right.
Sure. All right, Teach, we've had a couple of football commits. Transfer portal, so 2 for this year. We
Yeah.
had a 2024 we'll get to in a minute. Wide receiver from Pitt State,
Mhm.
Christian Carter. I think he'll be a slot guy. Had 50 receptions, 700 yards, I think 5 touchdowns. I think he
Yeah.
had a rushing touchdown. Watched a little bit of footage. He seems very capable after the catch. Maybe a return guy. Maybe see him back there fielding some punts or kickoffs. Seems to be pretty shifty. Got some speed on him. I don't know what he runs. He's a track and field guy, but I think, would you say he's a long
Oh, I
jump?
think he's a long jumper. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, everything I've seen on this guy from his tape, he looks good. Like,
And he'll have 2 years left.
2
Is
years.
that right?
Yeah. Coming from Pitt State, which is confusingly, I'm pretty sure it's in Kansas. You
It
get the
is.
Pitt,
They are
you
in
think of
Kansas. Do you
Pittsburgh.
know what their mascot is?
Only because I looked it up. You should probably ask Kenny, see if he knows.
Kenny might know. Can you know what Pitt State in Kansas mascot is?
The Rambling Pirates.
That
a
is an
bad
impressive guess. But they are the Gorillas, which I feel like is a pretty legit.
I kind of like that.
I don't know why there's not more gorillas in athletics.
It's definitely a rare one.
It's very rare.
I don't know a single other one. I've played a lot of NCAA football, and I've never stumbled across that.
I don't know that I've ever seen in any level of any sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking T-ball up. Like, I don't know that I've seen a gorilla as a mascot anywhere. It should be used more.
Yeah.
Gorillas are legit.
Anyway, he looks good. I think that, like you said, after the catch, he seems to be a very capable, big play guy. I think he has good spatial awareness. It feels like when you watch him, he knows how to use his body at certain angles to approach the ball at certain levels. I'm looking forward to him.
He seems there was one video of him on YouTube route. He's running routes at practice and giving. I mean, it's against.
Sure.
It's at Pitt State, so it may not be the best DBs he's going against, but
Yeah.
he seems like a very good route runner.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quick. Change of direction is there. I mean, losing a DB left and right. You think he can? I mean, that's a room that we've kind of talked about. You maybe need a little bit more depth in, a little bit more help. You think he can come in and
Sure.
this fall be I mean, maybe not come in and be the number one guy, but he'd come in and get reps at the slot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still trying to figure it out over there. Honestly, like the fall, we're not yet to fall, right? And
Yeah.
in spring, you have 15 practices.
Right.
You don't have just a ton of time to really kind of put it together. Guys are still trying to figure things out. He reminds me of Jamari Hawkins, very similar. A little bit older, has a little more experience. Hawkins only been in the program a year now. So they're very similar to me. So I don't know if he'll get big minutes this year, but what's stopping him from next year? You'll have
Sure.
some guys departing. I mean, he definitely looks talented. I could definitely see him getting on the field.
Yeah.
How many plays, how many catches? Kind of hard to say.
Hard
It's
to
way
say.
too early.
We'll
but-
go through that
the
in
talent's
August when
there.
we do our superlatives like we did last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Christian, not the only commit we've gotten in the last couple of days. Local, Memphis,
Yeah.
MAHS. Cameron Miller coming
Yeah.
home for the Tigs. Was a former 3-star, I think he was close to 100 overall wide receiver, but
Yeah.
he's not coming home to play wide receiver. Is the least is our understanding as of right now.
Yeah, everything I have seen or heard about it is that he's going to come over and play DB. I personally wish they would flip him to wide receiver immediately.
Why not two-way him?
That's so rare these days, though. So rare.
Cam may be a rare. He's a hidden gem.
Travis Hunter is the only guy who's really doing it. And I think they're actually probably just going to straight flip him to wide receiver.
Who, Travis?
Yeah,
Really?
probably.
That's interesting because wasn't he like the number one overall safety
Corner, yeah.
corner?
Yeah. Kind of weird, but I don't know. I think that
Cam's got a little bit of – he's got some size on him, though. Isn't he like 6'1", 200?
something like that, yeah. Very similar.
To me, I feel like with Simeon Blair, Joel Williams, like you've got a solid core this year in the
Sure.
secondary.
Sure.
And I feel like we've talked about it. You maybe need a little bit more help in the wide receiver room. So we'll see. It sounds like he will play on the defensive side. And maybe
Yeah.
it is needed more so there. But I wouldn't hate seeing him catch some balls offensively.
Yeah. And I think personally he's very similar to Jalen Johnson in terms of size and kind of what they do.
Right.
Who's the Ohio State transfer you just took in. I think
Yeah.
he's also a 6'1", 200, somewhere in that range kind of player. To your point, we seem to understand who we think the starting safeties will be. Obviously, if one drops, you need another guy to step up.
Sure.
So there's always chance there. So I don't know.
And
I
he
guess we'll get in there
redshirted
and
last
see.
year. Is that right? So
Yeah.
he's got 4 years
He's
left.
got time.
Yeah.
Local kid, son of Cedric Miller, brother of Cedric Jr. You've probably, these are guys that if you follow preps in Memphis at all, like you know who these guys are. His
Yeah.
dad's been all over the city. Southwind. I think he's at Mace now. So, yeah. So
There you go. Well, excited to have you're going to hit him with the,
yeah,
the
100%.
classic TJ home.
got him with the home.
There you go. Don't
Save
forget
that for the
Christian with the
local kids.
don't forget Christian with the family though. You got to hit Christian with the family.
I got to do that.
I'm surprised you haven't already. That was like 2 days ago.
I've been slacking, dude. The baby keeping me busy and stuff.
I understand that.
Makes sense.
Not the only. We got a little bit of 2024. Got our first commit in the 2024 class. Takafa Lewis, interior lineman. I think he's 6'4", 300. So good to see them adding some more size, depth there to the offensive line. Kid out of Pearl. I think
Yep.
plays 7A ball, which I didn't even. I played private school D2A here at St. George's. I didn't even know we went to 7A. We have 7A in the city? I thought
No.
5A was the highest. or
5A,
6A.
maybe 6A, yeah. I think they may have downsized 6A to 5A, but
Interesting.
it's a lot of A's, honestly. It's a good position for us to grab, though. Jacob Likes has been around for a while. Gamble has graduated. Davion Carter is a senior. Will be a senior, maybe. So grabbing more interior depth, it's definitely a good spot to hit up.
I think Davion's a redshirt junior.
I think he's redshirt junior. I'm talking about going into next year.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm not sure you're going to have those other two
Gotcha.
guys. So.
But the so first commit for the hashtag Untamed 24, I think is the hashtag for next year. This year was what, Wild Things 23?
Yeah.
You like Wild Things 23 better?
I think Wild Thing sounds better, yeah. Untamed is good. Like I couldn't
I think
imagine
that's
how
good.
difficult that is.
We're cats, untame them.
Yeah.
Untapped 23, 24.
Think about it, Ryan.
I don't know.
Untapped.
I don't know who makes those hashtags, but
Someone more creative than me. For sure. Striped up 25.
that is. You thought about that.
I've been
Striped
thinking
up
about it.
25,
That's
been thinking-
impressive.
right off the top.
I got a journal at home I write in. Think of recruiting hashtags.
That was
Throw it
great.
in there.
That was great.
Anything else football wise?
No, I mean that was the first. He's the first, but we'll see. I think typically around this time of year is kind of when you
Sure.
start seeing that pick up. I think towards the end of June, getting into July.
Yeah.
We had a pretty last summer. We had it was 2 weeks where they started just rolling
busy.
in. I think, I wouldn't be shocked to see over the next couple of weeks to start getting some more football commits for Untamed 24.
You
So,
see a lot of guys start signing right before their senior year. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I think every year, just you never know what could happen throughout the
Right.
season. So guys will just start signing up. committing left and right, then probably uncommit a little later on. But
All
happens.
pessimistic TJ.
it happens, man.
All right, let's get in this beer. This Teach, as a golf guy, the can, the Hushman, like
It's good.
it's
dude.
Memphis and golf. Some of my favorite things being combined into one, and this is probably the best can that I've seen that we have seen on this show.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Whoever came up with this can was probably on some drugs. I don't get what's going on with the can, but it does look good. It's
What do you
entertaining.
They're at a golf course.
I understand, but there's an alligator, but his eyes are not normal eyes. His nose is huge. It's just
Those
a
are
lot
golf
going on.
holes. Can you zoom in on these? Can we get this?
I can't zoom on you, but I can see it.
It's a great can.
It is a really good can.
Got the Hushman sign. If you're with the FedEx St. Jude Classic, just once, 1 year, can we change him from Hush Y'all to Hushman? You guys are listening? That would be clutch.
That might be a little bit too Memphis for the FedEx St. Jude Classic.
No, nothing's too Memphis.
Dude, I just saw this. It says time to par tee. Golf pun there.
I see that too.
In terms of cans, this is great. This is up there for me. There's some weird things to it, but I think the artistry on it, Hushman, I think is a hella incredible name for things. Part of me tells me that I should deduct a point considering this beer was canned July 12th, 2022.
Is that the beer's fault?
It's not, but it's like, actually, I should give it a point. It's been canned for almost a
And it
year,
was
and it's
still
still
that good.
delicious.
Yeah.
All right, plus a point.
Can. I don't know what the highest rated can I've given, but this is,
This is up there.
for me, this is a 9-1.
Dude, I was going to say a 9. I know it's an even number and you hate that. This is a good can.
It's a 9.01.
Oh, that was my score.
Oh,
9.01.
we can have the same score. That's fine.
Hush, man.
What a great can. And the beer, absolutely fantastic.
This may be the
I mean,
highest one we ever do.
A peach lemonade ale. I've already said it. The crushability of this was
It's very high. It's
through
sky
the
high.
roof. Especially like if I was on the golf course with these.
And it's a pint, too. I pointed out in that tweet, I was like, dude, they may be onto something with this one. Bill Street Brewing, you're onto something with this one. I don't know how many of
they're
their
not
beers.
on to something. They are on it. They have figured it out. This is it.
So, have you guys experienced the chamomile and lavender combination before? Like, obviously, tea and lavender's kind of
Taking
that
a bath.
taking a bath, right? Like lavender body
Yeah.
oils, all that kind of stuff. My tongue feels oily. Does y'all's tongue feel oily?
That sounds like something you should go to the doctor
Yeah, I know.
for, Kenny.
It was oily before I drank the beer, but
Yeah, I'm not getting an oil.
I didn't get that at all.
what would y'all think if it was like blueberry lemonade with chamomile?
I would love it. What do you mean? It'd be incredible.
Yeah, I don't. That's
You're talking me.
Bill Street Brewing. If you're listening, we can get a second edition of this with a blueberry lemonade.
Can we get Trey and I holding on the can, holding the Hushman signs though? I
That
don't know.
would
We
be
get a little
legit.
cartoon of us. This guy kind of looks like me if I could grow a beard though. In terms of rating the beer, I don't want to sound crazy, but this may be a 9. Like
It is
in the 9s. This is great.
It is up there.
And I think like if you're a beer snob, like so we drink a lot of beer, but like
Yeah.
if you're a beer snob, you probably won't love it because it is kind of like a fruity beer, but for some reason it works perfectly. I'll say like a 9.2 out of 10. Like the crushability is off the scale.
That
This
is-
is so good.
It is. It is up there.
Hush, mate. I can't stop saying it, dude.
What's the highest rated beer I've ever done? Sans.
Oh yeah, and it was probably like a upper 8, maybe a 9.
It's yeah. I don't want to give the same score as you, but
it's
I think the 9.2 is right.
if you're not a beer person, I would recommend trying this because it's It's a different type
It's not
of beer.
overly fruity either.
No, it's not. There's still some beer aftertaste to it. But if you're not a beer person and you want to kind of dodge the beerness to something, like
this is for you.
It's the lemonade, man.
It
the
is.
lemonade
Yeah.
is what sets this thing apart.
Yeah.
Like it is. I love it. What I love about this beer is that it literally, you have zero doubt as to when you're supposed to drink this beer. Like you're supposed to drink it during the summer, on the golf course, at a picnic, whatever it may be, outside.
dude,
Yeah.
I can cut the grass.
Like
and
cut the
crush
grass
this
and
would-
crush it.
This is a great after the mow beer.
So, but it's that lemonade thing that I think that
It is.
that's why it's not, you said it's not fruity. It's not a fruity tasting beer, but
No.
that lemon just
I think that you're
cuts
right.
through, man.
It
It's
does.
so good.
I think
It
the
is
lemonade
great.
is what's doing it.
I mean, I'm gonna go out and say that we may not have a beer that scores as high as this again.
I think that's fair.
This may be the Tigers Untapped
Official beer.
champion of beers.
It's good. It's real good.
What a beer for our first in studio
I know, right?
performance.
Kinda. Second, really. But
Well,
This is going to be a tough one to match.
it is. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity for all the other breweries out there to try to beat it. You guys are on the clock. So tune in next week to see what beer TJ and I take on that tries to beat Hush Main.
hush, man.
Come with a cold beer, stay with that takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.